Hello and welcome to BeamNG Drive. I'm davidinark. Today a special presentation for you. It's kind of a test proof of concept here. I built a track using the track editor, and then we're throwing down 3 vehicles to see how they, well, withstand the fall from grace or something along those lines. In any case, what we've got is the ambulance, we've got a Scintilla, and we've got the Bastion. You can see they are all bouncing around. And that is because they are all set up with the indestructible mod, and so therefore basically they won't break or break too much anyway. The other thing we've got set here is no brakes, no engine, and the track is essentially ice. Speaking of, we've got a problem with a pileup in the corner, and so the ambulance finds its way around the final approach to the finish line, and it will end in first place. Meanwhile, the other 2 vehicles, nope, they are stalled out. So the ambulance coming down to the final approach and crossing the finish line in first. Let's jump back up here real quick, and yes, the Bastion blocked off the Scintilla. Oh, man. All right, here we go. From the perspective of the Scintilla, let's head on down the track here. Pardon my voice, I've got some kind of weird thing going on, but in any case, as we cruise on down, the Bastion is in first place, the ambulance is in second, the Scintilla is bouncing all over the place, and for all intents and purposes, all that accomplishes is slowing the vehicle down. As we see the ambulance and the Bastion already around the corner as the Scintilla skids down. Oh, I was afraid it was going to skid to a stop there, but no, manages to bounce off of the curve, slowly kind of come around. As you can see now, the ambulance and the Bastion clear out of view, nowhere to be seen. As the Scintilla goes backwards for a while, manages to spin itself around, now gaining speed as it uses the outside wall to gain that traction and keep on heading down the track. Much better performance now that it's kind of gotten a hang of things. Oh, I say that as it slams into the wall, spins around. Oh, surprise, there we go. We've got the Bastion and the ambulance here in the final approach, but no one is going to cross the finish line on this one. All right, this time we're going to be taking a look at the Bastion point of view. Oh, the Scintilla trying to pit maneuver the ambulance. That was not going to work for that at all. And the ambulance comes bouncing around. The Bastion's so busy bouncing itself off the walls that the ambulance passes by. Scintilla on the approach behind the Bastion. The Bastion going backwards, catching the back corner, coming around front end off of the wall, and I think the Scintilla may be gone. No, there's the Scintilla right there. Okay, Scintilla is slowly approaching the Bastion. The Bastion's still going backwards. There we go, finally getting spun around. Now, one of the things these vehicles have to watch out for is that although the walls are helpful for spinning the vehicle around and also kind of helping guide it around those corners, the walls themselves are not ice. They are whatever, cement, I guess. So the friction of the walls can actually slow the vehicles down. So that's something that they're going to have to watch out for as they continue to come around the corners here, around these curves. And the fire truck, or the ambulance rather, is long gone, nowhere to be seen, as the Bastion is slowly making its way to the finish line. Oh, hitting the wall. Oh, okay, well, bounced off the wall there a little bit. The more it stays away from the wall, oh no, there it is. It's rubbing up against the wall, and the Scintilla's gone. We'll have to see if we can find it. It must have got stalled out. However, the Bastion is going to make it to the finish line, maybe, and yes, it does cross the finish line. So the Scintilla, yep, stuck up in this curve. It's not going anywhere. It is a DNF. In the meantime, the ambulance is way far away from the rest of the herd. Speaking of the ambulance, let's follow the ambulance this time. and head on down the track. Oh, there we go. Ambulance crashing into the Bastion. I think the Bastion was trying to cut him off. That just wasn't going to happen. Ambulance spinning around, now backwards. Going to find its way, yep, turning around again. The Bastion and Scintilla are in the back competing for second, although very, very slowly. In the meantime, the ambulance finding its way around the curve as the Bastion is quickly approaching. Once again, not really seeing the Scintilla, so the Scintilla may be out of commission again. This just may not be a particular type of racing that the Scintilla is prepared for. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out when we do this as a complete series of competition. In the meantime, the ambulance coming down the final approach, slowly bouncing off of all of the walls, and there it is, crossing over the finish line. Now let's take a look and see who is coming up. Oh, the Scintilla out of nowhere is now in second place. What is happening? Oh, but he stopped. Oh, no, not quite. Come on. He's slowly inching forward. Oh no, and is stopped as a matter of fact. And then behind him is the Bolide slowly coming in. Is the Bolide going to be able to tap the Scintilla? And no, it comes to a stop. Oh my gosh, that is nuts. All right, so I've done something a little different. The approach to the finish line was just not at a steep enough angle, so I've raised the entire track and set the final approach for a much steeper endeavor. So we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, ambulance is the one we'll be following for right now. It is currently in last place, although the vehicles are definitely keeping up with each other. You may have noticed at the start of this race, I also lined up the vehicles a little better so that they weren't so staggered for a start. As the ambulance skirts past this Scintilla and is heading for the Bastion. And yes, look at there. What an inside move from the ambulance as it goes around. Whoa, and takes over the #1 position from the Bastion. However, it is on its side as it slides down the hill. The Bastion and the Scintilla both are approaching quickly, but the ambulance does find its way onto all four, well, technically 6 wheels, and will approach and cross the finish line with no problem at all. Yeah, this much steeper approach is way better in terms of getting these vehicles some help to cross the finish line. The Scintilla, although rubbing the side of the wall, you can see not a problem. It crosses the finish line, and eventually the Bastion is going to join the party here. Come on, little dude. There we go. And crosses over the finish line. So let's take a look from the Scintilla's point of view, see how this goes as it heads down. Everybody is bunched up. The Bastion is actually pushing everybody into each other. Oh, and even though we've got the indestructible mod involved here, you can see it is not 100% perfect. The Scintilla door managed to fly up, and that could present a problem. Scintilla is upside down. It is sliding on its roof. What is that going to do for the competition? I will tell you, it's got some serious speed. Slams into the wall, spinning around. Will it upright itself? Yes, it does. Manages to find itself upright, but that has come at a cost of a lot of speed as it's been trying to gain its footing. However, I was going to say I didn't see the Bastion or the ambulance. There's the Bastion. Oh no, the Scintilla has come to a stop as the Bastion is barreling down the road and slams into the Scintilla, giving it a boost to head on down the track. Will the Bastion... Oh, look at that. The Scintilla cutting off the Bastion as it tried to pass by. Now, giving it some room toward the finish line. This is going to be tough because both vehicles, well, I was going to say both vehicles have a chance to win this, but at this point, no. The Scintilla pulls away, even manages to get its door closed. How about that one? As it crosses the finish line, and the Bastion making its way backwards, bouncing off the walls, and comes to the finish. Now, where is the ambulance? Oh, the ambulance is way up here, coming to a halt. That is not a good thing. And here we go. The Bastion. Now we're going to follow it for some perspective. Look, they're taking the lead. This time the ambulance squeezing out the Scintilla, but it smacked the back of that bolide and ends up spinning around. It's kind of out of control now, coming down backwards, the Scintilla behind it. Oh, the Bastion ended up on two wheels around that corner. Still has plenty of speed as it heads down the hill backwards. Oh, around the curve. All right, not bad at all. I was afraid it was going to take a very brunt hit to the back end, but that didn't happen as it manages to spin itself around, and this probably isn't going to be very pretty. Oh, grabs the front corner. I really thought that that front end was going to go head first into the curve, but it did not. Whoa, there's an ambulance. Sorry about that. I was not expecting to see a giant ambulance in the view screen there, that's for sure. The ambulance on its side as it slides down. The Bastion coming down to the final approach, and I do not see the Scintilla. Is it back there? I think the Scintilla might be back there. It is. All right, so the ambulance skirting on its side, and yes, the front end crosses the finish line. That's all you got to do. As long as you cross, it counts. So the ambulance comes in second, and now the Scintilla is slowly approaching. And will it be able to squeeze the gap? Yep, it is through, and that is the end of the run for those guys. Okay, one more idea. All right, here we go. I thought this might be fun just to do this from a top-down view. Let's see how this goes. We've got all three vehicles. The ambulance taking an early lead, followed by the Bastion and the Scintilla. Pardon my mouse there. As it goes down, the Bastion is still right behind the ambulance. The ambulance taking a major tumble, and on its side, as we have seen several times before in this competition. They come around the corner, ambulance still on its side, the Bastion is behind it. Let's move over a little bit so we can get a better view of what's happening. The Scintilla has come to a stop. I believe it is out of the race. It is done. Basically just kind of bouncing back and forth there. And the Bastion is ahead of the ambulance on its side. Bastion crosses the finish line first as the ambulance kind of spinning around, but still again on its side. So that's, not a good thing. Let's zoom in here, see if we can catch up with the ambulance and see if the ambulance will cross the finish line. And yes, it does. So the ambulance comes in second, and the Scintilla is nowhere to be seen. So there you go. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. Thanks to all the supporters. Sorry I don't have the list in front of me where I'm recording, but you guys know who you are. I appreciate it so much. Hey, I'm davidinark. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.